Hello and welcome to the third episode of the Donna Show. Here we have DJs and entertainers who come and tell us about their journey and their contribution to music and the industry. And today, in our third episode, we have someone very special from the Godfather series. We've got one of the finest DJs of India, a pioneer who is um, unquestionably one of the best and excellent in his music and in the entertainment industry today. Also, it is his passion, his originality, his individuality that set him apart from the rest of the world. It is not only his music that stands in the foreground, but also the integration of strong words and images, always different and mystical, against the current and diverse in terms of style. He utilizes his vast knowledge of the scene and its music to help create parties that focus on diverse quality, sound, and a welcoming energetic vibe. This is none other than the godfather of our industry, DJ Ivan. Let's see if he's online and let's bring him on the show.
Hey Donna,
Hi, Ivan. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How's everything with you?
All good.
Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
We'll start with your journey a little bit to know much about you, and then we shall carry forward the show, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Awesome. So, can you tell us a little bit about your journey? I think the camera is a little on your right. I think I can't see you properly.
Yeah, I need to get in a position. Okay, is that
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
No problem. Okay. So, can you tell us a bit about your journey in the music industry so far? How long has it been for you, and
Uh,
how did
it's
you
been
start and everything?
it's been 28 years, so yeah, it's a long
Wow,
time.
that's a really long time. How
Yeah,
did you start? What made you become a DJ, and how did you
yeah.
get inspired?
Love for music from a kid being in a home where records were played from the morning to the evening every day. So
Right.
that's how it all started, and then through school and college, I was not great at academics, but I finished BCom. But all the while, it was the love
Wow.
for music. Uh, it was the love for music that was drawing me to anything that was going to be related to music.
Right, right. So when did you start DJing? Which year was it?
92.
Oh, wow. And who was your inspiration when you started?
uh, I don't know. It's just love for music. There was no definition of a DJ at that point in time, and we weren't exposed to many. But yeah, it was just a love for music, and then I just wanted to play music, so it just started from there. Not any inspirations as such when I started. Once I
Right.
started, and later on, then I started to fall in love with house music and stuff like that. So then we had
So
heroes like Todd Terry and stuff.
wow, wow. So did you start from a club back then? How was the situation with the music scene? Like, were there too many
Uh,
clubs and you
there,
know?
there were, yeah, there were about two clubs in Bangalore. So
Right,
I started as an assistant to an African guy who was the resident DJ, and he was brought from an international group, uh,
right.
DJ club group called Juliana's to play at the club. So I
Wow,
was his assistant, cleaning the
right.
records, putting them back in the covers, and standing next to him for no salary, just learning.
Well, I think that is one good way to learn your music. When you kind of be with someone who's already in the situation and stuff like that. So, did you have any problems with your family when you started off? Any issues?
Nobody knew
You
what
know?
DJing was. You know,
Sorry.
nobody knew what DJing was. So
Right,
they didn't
right,
know what DJing was. I didn't know what DJing was. Nobody knew what DJing was.
right,
In love with the idea of just playing music to people. So
right.
you know,
No, but
just,
again, when late nights happen, like we DJs, we mostly perform during late nights. So then family issues and all? Nothing, never?
No, no, no. I came to live alone. So I
Okay,
went.
so where are you from then? Where did you come from? Where did you
Yeah,
shift
I am
from?
from Bangalore, and I went off to
Okay,
work in Abu Dhabi for a couple of years, and then I came back on to start doing something totally unrelated to what I was doing, and that's
right.
how I started. So I wanted to actually start it as a party business and take a
Uh-huh.
sound system which I had of my own and play music, along with the sound system. So because nobody was actually DJing full time at that time. But
Right.
as I came back and got into it, I was like, I'm not cut out for business. I'm just going to do this, play music 24/7.
Right, right, right.
Are
So,
we on Facebook? Oh, sorry to interrupt. Is this on Facebook? Or
yeah, it's on Lufray's page. Yeah, it's on Facebook. Yeah.
okay, okay. But we can't see the comment.
Okay. No, I mean comments are coming and going. This is a different medium, so we have
Oh,
better visual and audio basically. Yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah, yeah. So, tell us about an incident memory that you can probably relate to, in your career that you completely cherish, that you still remember. And do you have any such memories? I'm sure.
Yeah, a lot of it was being at the right place at the right time. Uh,
Right,
you know, uh, I was playing in a hut in Bangalore called
right.
the, and it was the most happening place. And used to have 2,000 people on Friday and Saturday, about 1,000 people
Oh,
on Wednesday,
wow.
and everything closed at 11:30. But then people would come there post that.
Right,
It was the only late night place. But yeah, so uh, the owner of Three Flights Up happened to walk in there. They were
right.
opening India's biggest club in Bombay. They saw me and they said, "We like your music," and they took me to Bombay. So overnight,
Wow.
I landed in Bombay, in India's biggest club with the largest bar and everything. So yeah, there was a lot of that was a big turning point. And
Oh,
from
what
there, it
what club? What was the name of the club? What
was
was the
called
name of the club?
Three Flights Up. It was in
Okay.
'97.
Wow. I was not even, I mean, I had no idea absolutely what the nightclub situation was back then and nothing, absolutely. So you do collect a lot of vinyls and stuff. I know of. So
Yeah.
would you like to talk about that a bit, as in your
Uh,
source
yeah,
and
from day one, I started playing records. I never
right,
played. I never played CDs. Um,
right,
Nothing else except vinyl. So that's where the love for vinyl started. So in my first
right.
job itself, I used to earn 7,500 rupees a month. Out of that 2,500 rupees, I used to use to buy 5 records a month. And my
Wow.
friend used to fly for Emirates Airlines, so he used to buy them from Frankfurt and then courier
Right,
it from Dubai. So from those early days, I started to collect my music on vinyl.
right,
So
right,
I started to build the collection from there, and then of course I started to buy backdated and buy stuff that was released earlier as well, and that became a long journey of playing and collecting vinyl. And so then I started to go to London every 6 months and buying about 200 records, coming back, playing them for 6 months, and then going back. So every summer in May and every winter in November, I would go to London, buy 200 records, and come back. And,
wow.
and so, yeah, then I built this huge collection of vinyl.
So how many vinyls do you have at the moment? How many do you possess at the moment?
I'm having about 3,000, but yeah, out of the 3,000, yeah, at least 2,000 you can go to any
Still
club
play on.
and
Right,
play, and they'll still sound great. Like I've realized now in the lockdown, I actually 2008
right,
we stopped playing records and we went digital. Uh,
right.
when the lockdown happened, I opened out the cupboards and I started to discover these records all over again, and they started sounding amazing. And then we started to play them to the people online who were just discovering music or haven't heard music for long or only have heard
Right.
late music, and they were so fascinated. and they thought it sounded great. And so it's just been amazing in the last 90 days or 100 days.
Wow, wow. I mean, it must be like a, like a little kid going back, like back in time to figure out and everything. It must have been a great idea.
It's a treasure. It's my only treasure. It's my treasure.
I'm sure, I'm sure. So
I was
have you
al-
faced any different, sorry,
I
were
was
you
always
saying
very
something?
careful about them, and I always understood the value and importance because I used to struggle to buy them, bring them, excess baggage. Each record cost about £5, so it's a lot of money spent. So I really
Right,
valued and treasured them. So even when I stopped playing them, I put them in all safe cupboards and I've kept them there. And,
right. Wow. So have you faced any difficulties I mean, when you started off DJing, any kind of pros, cons that people usually,
the early years, I was very, very gutsy, and I took a lot of chances, and
right,
I never got scared. A lot of guys
right,
when they begin have a lot of insecurities in terms of what am I going to do? I lose my job if I don't play music to the crowd, and blah blah. But yeah,
right.
I never worried about those things. I just
You will
uh,
always play what you like, and
I
then
always play what I like, and luckily I got away with it.
I mean, people love your music, including me. I've heard you so many times, and I've always been like on the dance floor every time I've been for your shows.
Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, I love your music.
The-
So
you
yeah,
know, Before the lockdown, we were all traveling so much, and we were all
right,
playing so much, and we never got to hear each other's music and discover each other's talent and everything.
right,
But post the lockdown, we've actually had a chance to understand how each DJ operates, what they do, what they play, and appreciate it more. So it's been a
right.
fantastic time for all of us to discover each other's music, I never heard you before. I think I was in one festival with you in Calcutta many years ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I think that's the only time I've heard you. And then, but in
yeah.
the background, I've heard you a few times, and I've got to appreciate what you do and your sets and everything. So it's
Thank you
been
so much.
it's been like that with a lot of DJs.
Right. Right. And also, I think people are kind of, experimenting with their sounds that usually they don't get to in the clubs. Like, because they mostly, I mean, when you start playing a lot of one kind of genre, you get tagged as that particular genre DJ, like say if you're doing Bollywood, you're just stuck to Bollywood and you're not, it's difficult to then start, experimenting with music. So I think lockdown has been a blessing in disguise also, in a way, where you can just experiment with your sounds and you still have audience either way to listen to you. So yeah. So what style of music do you love playing, and what interests you the most where genres are concerned?
I think
House music.
house music,
Are you experimenting with, sorry,
I
what?
played house music from uh, when I started in '92 without even knowing it was house music. I was playing
Right.
records from Frankie Knuckles and Todd Terry and everybody back in those days. We were playing CC Peniston, we were playing Alison Limerick. We didn't even know it was house music. It sounded great. We were playing it. Later on,
Right.
we knew it was called house music. But those are the sounds that always excited me from the day one.
Correct.
So I started to collect music that sounded like that and felt like that, and it's carried on in that fashion.
Right. So did
Lots
you
of
have to
people.
face any challenges back then? Now rather, as a DJ in your journey, actually, did you have to face any kind of challenges?
Musically, I've always done it on my own terms.
Right.
I've never looked to be a rock star. I've never charged exorbitant fees. My fees are on the higher side, but they're not the highest. So, I have been somebody who's been very conscious about the fact that I need places to play my music. So my
Correct.
strategy would be very simple. Instead of charging 3 lakhs and doing one show a month, I'll charge, maybe whatever, much less than that and do more shows a month.
Correct. Correct.
So I need to go to more people and play to more people and expose my music and my craft to more people. So that's always been my objective.
Right. Right. I think that's a good way of doing thing as well. I mean, you get more and more audience. You go out there and showcase your music and everything else. So yeah. So what do you how do you motivate your crowd when you're behind the console? I mean,
Body
there are
language,
so many different kinds of crowd when during in a club. So how do you motivate
purely,
everyone?
purely body language and confidence. When
Right.
somebody's looking up to you and they don't understand the music you're playing and
Right.
everything, they're just looking at you for signs to understand and know whether this guy knows what he's doing. You
Right.
need to ask them to trust you, and not by getting on the mic and saying trust me, but by playing your
With your body
music,
language.
a body language that is so positive, that is so confident, then they start to trust you. You actually
Correct.
take music literally and hold each person's hand and bring him to the dance floor towards you. And so, for me, it's never been the big festivals, the numbers. It's always been clubs. Maybe in the early years, yeah, we did a lot of big Bacardi blasts and 10,000 and 15,000 people. But, it's always, I'm more like a club DJ where everything is very intimate. I don't like to come on and bang it out straight away. I like to start when there are no people on the dance floor, which is why
And slowly build it.
in the lockdown it's been so easy for me to play. I can stand in my room and
Right.
play alone because I've always been used to that.
Right. Right. So how can for the new generation that we are catering to right now, how can a DJ be more creative as far as arts is concerned? In with today's DJs and stuff, how do you think a DJ can be more creative with his music, with his art?
Technology, just one word, technology. It's overwhelming.
Right.
And my motivation every morning when I wake up is that what technology am I going to get on top of today? Um,
Right.
and every day there's something new coming out. And every
Right.
day I will engage in something and learn
Right.
something from YouTube and watch online other DJs playing and their sets, especially in lockdown. And, from that, learn all that is going on in the world around you and try to get on technology. And of course, incorporate your style into the
Right.
technology that you want to use.
Right. Right. Correct. So then, let's talk about the career aspects of the new generation. If it's not, how do you think one must prepare and start and then go about with music and everything else for the new generation?
Well, it's just there is no secret to it. I work about 18 hours a day and sleep 6 hours, and I don't do it. And in the lockdown, people know how relentless I've been. I play almost every day, so there's a lot of
Right.
preparation. But yeah, it's the number one secret to anything is hard work. And
Correct.
once you're ready to put in the hard work, and you understand the subject and you want to approach the subject in a manner which is methodical, you will get where you want to get.
Right. So, even if it would not for music, what would you have done if not for music?
I actually wanted to be a hairstylist when, so, but
That's something new. So, if it wasn't for music, then you would have been a big hairstylist, I'm sure.
yeah, I guess if I was working as hard as I'm working on my music, I might have. Maybe then I would have had a bit of a hairstyle as well. This is as
Probably
much
a
as
mohawk or something. You never know.
we can do in lockdown.
Yeah, you wouldn't have had trouble with the parlors and everything being shut. Well, talking about the current situation, what do you think about the live streaming these days? People are getting
Yeah, so
weird comments. And
we had a very animated conversation about this last week, and you know where it
yes,
ended.
yes, yes,
I got
yes.
really emotional. But yeah, it is sad that so many DJs are making excuses about playing on Instagram or Facebook or anything. And like I said that day, Instagram and Facebook are just platforms. They are not
Right,
going. They're not going to stand in court and fight
right,
with music
right.
companies because you are infringing copyrights.
Yeah,
So you have to understand that and work within the parameters and what is allowed and what is not allowed, and
correct,
choose music that doesn't get
correct,
flagged, or at least research enough to understand what can go through and what can't go through. You just cannot sit and just say, oh, they are flagging this music and they're flagging this music. And like you made a point a little earlier, uh, if you were playing in clubs and you were playing commercial music and requests and owners and promoters and crowd was troubling you, this is your opportunity to play music that you enjoy, that
correct.
brings
Very
creativity
true.
to the fore. And surely most DJs I know of, they will want to play music that is something that will not get flagged.
Right,
So,
right,
so choose the music you want to play, research it, understand what can go through, what can't go through, and then use the platforms. Don't sit and bitch about, oh, Facebook or Instagram is flagging my music. Those will always
right,
be, and we are not,
right,
as a DJ community, we don't constitute even 1% of Facebook's business. So they are not interested in us. And why should
right,
they? So if you want to use that platform and you feel your followings on the platform, then use music that won't get copyrighted or flagged. As an
right,
alternative,
right,
we now have Mixcloud. I was one of the early adapters. I went there 3 months ago, and we are doing phenomenally well on that platform. And you can play every commercial track that you want without getting flagged for hours together, and enjoy it. But I think
right,
at the outset, when you want to do a live broadcast, you need to sit and think about, why am I doing this broadcast? To who am I wanting to play this broadcast to? And what are the benefits out of playing this broadcast? And it's
right,
a cost and benefit situation. So if you understand that at the cost of the music getting flagged, I can't play the music, then you have to understand, okay, the benefit of Facebook is I have more friends who will follow me here.
right,
Whereas if you go to Mixcloud, I can play whatever I want, but I'll have fewer people following me
right,
there. Don't sit and crib and don't bad mouth and complain. I mean, we as a community, we have it easy. What do? We play other people's music. Some
right,
some play it better than others because they work harder on it. So
right,
it's about time we be honest with ourselves and tell ourselves, what are we actually doing, what are we trying to do, and understand. And the main point that I make in any of this is a time for intelligence. You know, you looked great, you had great social media, you played awesome music, you had fans, you ran around everywhere. We all came back to zero. Now you have
right,
to think about it. You have time to think about it. Use your intelligence and think about every single thing you do. The song you play, which environment you play in, how you play it, when it's going to get flagged, who's going to hear you, everything. You need to think about everything.
right. Yeah, because the other day also when I saw you talk with Akhtar as well, and this situation came up where we kind of run behind numbers. Most of the DJs where they get trolled because of when you focus on numbers and internet, you really can't help it. There are all kinds of people on internet, and there are good, there are bad, there are ugly people as well who talks nonsense. And with these kind of negativity, like the other day you were saying, one must take protect oneself, with the whole situation in
Absolutely.
today's date.
You can't talk about because most of the guys have fake IDs.
Right.
So, I mean, you have experienced so much, and you've experienced more than I have. And I have to be honest, it pains me to see how much you all suffer at the hands of trawlers and people who are
Right.
treating you all badly. And but you have to think about, am I going to, if I play to 10,000 people on a random page today, is that going to transform when lockdown is over to 10,000 people coming to my gigs? I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think so.
I
I
don't
don't
think
think so.
so. What is your objective? What is the objective? You are paying a huge price for no reason at all. Whereas you
Right.
can go on your personal page on Facebook, and every person you have approved to come and be your friend, you play to him or her. And at the end of the thing, if she's trolling you, if she's abusing you, you can always inbox and say, "Hey man, what is your problem?
Correct.
I know
You can
you.
always confront the person. And
I know you. You are my friend. What is the problem?"
right.
Yeah. So, and very explicitly you can tell him then. And I had a friend who tried to put some negativity into some comment of mine. And I inboxed and said, "What is the problem? This more than ever is a time that I cannot deal with negativity. So
Correct.
don't try and come and, if you don't want to say anything, don't say anything. But if you want to say something, you're on my friend list. I know who you are. I can tell you off. Either you go off my friend list or behave yourself if you're on my friend list." So that is what all of you need to do. Because at the end of the day, a broadcast to your friends will build your fan following among your friends. So tomorrow, when you
Right.
put a post saying that I am traveling to Bangalore to play at this gig, that person will see and come to your gig. That is the benefit you will get. If you're on a random page, there was a girl, I think, who was on a radio station or a festival or some page and got abused and this and that. Just
Right.
avoid that. And like I
Yeah, I
said,
mean,
that
it makes
I have 30,000 people on my fan page. I have not played there once. And I will not try to play there once because I don't know who they are.
right.
So protect yourself because it's a very fragile time for all of us. We are not mentally at our best. And we
Right.
don't know when these things are going to turn around. So let's
Yeah,
protect
I
us.
mean,
Let's understand. That's why I said you cannot leave it out there for these people to change their attitude towards us. That is not going to
right.
happen because I don't know what this internet is. I mean, if you look at all the festival broadcasts that are going on, what do you see all the time? It's just MC, BC, MC, BC, MC, BC. What is he playing?
Exactly.
And anyway, those are pre-recorded broadcasts. So those guys have recorded in some foreign country and sent it. They are not watching. Nobody cares. It is just running. So everybody is
Right.
having fun. But when you are playing live in the broadcast and you're trying to mix and you're being creative and you see somebody trolling you or abusing you or saying so much to you, it kills you. And you take it back as
Right.
baggage into the night and you sleep over
Right.
it. You come back less positive the next day. Why do you want to do this to yourselves? So
Correct.
everybody needs to understand this is a huge pressing demand right now to maintain your positively and your mental health, to be surrounded by people who support you and love you. And it cannot come in the numbers. So it's
Right.
always quality over quantity.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think one must not look at numbers any further because it's not really going to help. Like you always say, it's not going to, I mean, the clubs
Never
are not
did.
going to be filled with 10,000 people anyway. It's
It never did. And those people who are trolling you will never enter a club. There's no way. None of those people are going to ever enter a club. So they are not your audience. I mean, why will you wear designer clothes and step out in the rain without an umbrella? Simple.
right, right,
Just protect yourself. Look after
right.
yourself. Protect yourself.
You know, the issues we are facing during the lockdowns with, I mean, the other day when you got very emotional about situations where, people have been messaging you. And to be honest, even I've been getting the same kind of messages, where people are talking about going hungry and no job and no perspective. Rather, none of us know right now, where we are headed towards, you know. So, how, I mean, what is your take on that? How do you think we can, help each other and with work, with everything else?
Well, it's just a really unsure time. So, your guess is as good as mine when it comes to this. So, we cannot predict what will happen. But
Right,
we need to keep doing things that make us happy, that keep us positive, that keep us creative, and that keep us
right,
connected to our fans. Uh, I don't call, it's unfair to call them fans, but our friends and family. I don't call people fans because I don't think I'm a superstar, but, we need to be connected to the people who matter to us, who
right,
will come to our gigs in every city we go to, who will support our music, who will support what we do, who appreciate what we do. So, the way forward is to just do stuff that keeps you creatively stimulated to go on. You can't stop.
right,
Recently, we've seen a lot of the broadcasts have come down. A lot of the big companies have taken over. We've seen all the festivals take over. Every weekend, there is a
right,
big festival that is virtually broadcasting, and slowly the individuals are starting to lose a little bit of motivation because flagging, I mean, to be honest, flagging and all is very, very demotivating. And
right,
you have to put a lot of work, a lot of thought into what you're doing. For example, I did 8 hours last Saturday on Instagram, and suddenly we started to get a new message at the half an hour mark saying you're exceeding your pre-recorded content. So what do they expect? Like, if you're playing for 1 hour, if you're exceeding your pre-recorded content half an hour, am I supposed to stand and sing for the next half an hour and not play pre-recorded music? So it's bizarre.
right.
So you're constantly having challenges, and you play some song one week, next week it will get uh,
Yes, I faced the same issue actually when I was playing in, particular song that I played an entire set of 4 hours and nothing happened. Now, when I played the same particular track after two live sessions, when I repeated that track again, I got flagged. My entire video got
because
pulled
because
down.
because artificial intelligence is involved in these algorithms, right? So
Right,
when artificial intelligence will pass this, which is pretty much like Shazam, they will pass these tracks through. Then there
right,
will be people who will be monitoring why these tracks are passed through, and then put
right,
a algorithm onto it saying this should not have been passed.
right,
So they also have a lot of stuff going on in their back end where they are constantly working on these things uh, to ensure the safety of the rights holders of the music. And we are
right,
here, and as DJs, we always have it easy, but at this time it's hard. But you have to put in that research. You have to. There are a lot of times where I might run a set on an alternate Instagram account and play the whole set through and see what gets flagged, and then come back onto my account the next day and perform live and take those tracks out which got flagged. just to test out the algorithm. That is the length of effort and time we will put in to ensure that my audience is getting a smooth experience when I play to them. All the people who are complaining,
Wow.
all the people are complaining. Are they committed to the broadcast?
What
No,
they are doing.
nothing. They just wake up, take a set of music, the same commercial songs I played in the club, Major Laser, blah, 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 I will play. Then when I get flagged, I will sit and bitch. Oh, this is this is this is that. But, this is a time now for us to understand there is no easy way out. And like I said in many times earlier, whether you have achieved something, I have achieved something, when we come out of this lockdown, we are all starting at zero.
We start afresh.
The
Exactly.
youngest guy, the oldest guy, we all start at zero. Be it fees, be it anything, whatever we have done, whatever. And whatever you're going to put in this lockdown time to nurture your people who are listening to you and following you and whatever will pay you. So if there is a
Right.
younger guy who started this lockdown not so famous and worked every day to play to the people that know and love him, he will come out at an advantage as compared to a guy who achieved so much before but just sat back in the lockdown and did nothing.
Correct. So it's important to basically, nurture and do your homework
Very,
thoroughly.
very important. And I think there's a lot more effort required now, more than ever. And I'm trying to inspire and motivate and speak to everybody who I know, not only on these type of chats, but we have so many video calls going every day in different groups of DJs and people and whatever. And we're all talking to each other and we're trying to make each other move forward and not give up and not stop playing music and don't get bogged down by the system. There are enough avenues of creativity to show the world what you can do. Pick and choose and
Right.
do it. Mixcloud is a
Right.
beautiful platform.
I haven't yet tried Myth Club, but I definitely will give it a shot whenever I go live next. I
Just,
mean, the other day when I heard you, and I was like, I was pretty taken. So I would
and
definitely give it a try.
when I started, people were like, why should we come there? We'll be on Instagram and Facebook. I was like, man, if you can get dressed up, travel 10 kilometers, come to my gig, get on the guest list, and come to hear me play, I am asking you to make two extra clicks on your phone. You can't do that much for me. And it was a simple appeal which really struck a chord among them. And my post would just say that you're just 2 clicks away. And when you think
Right.
about it psychologically, it's just 2 clicks away. So Kanna's here on the chat, and he came with me, and he's been hugely successful on Mixcloud, and we're having a great time because it's like worrying about the cops landing up at your gig, and
Right.
that doesn't happen now.
Exactly. Yeah. I think Mixcloud is actually a good platform, and one should try it out. And yeah. So, how do you keep yourself motivated during this whole lockdown period? What have you been doing apart from your music and stuff?
Nothing, just music. I have not stepped out of my house since March 19th. Uh, and
Wow.
I've,
Wow. I am shocked.
I've just been with my music, just
Right.
records and music and sets and everything. And so it's been I have never worked harder. So I have this saying which is in my head that I haven't earned a single rupee, but I feel really rich.
Exactly. From the kind of love you get from everybody else. I mean, and right now, the internet being a vast, majority of crowd gets to watch
Yeah,
your live
people
shows.
connecting.
So yeah.
When I do my 8 hour sets, we have people who wake up in the US and then they follow us, and then we have people who wake up in Australia, and then they follow us, and then it's crazy how the world works, the dynamics, and the people we are reaching, and it's a fantastic opportunity for all of us to showcase our talent, showcase what nobody had seen previously from us, and
Right.
do stuff.
Right. So have you experimented with any kind of genres? Any experiments with genres and stuff?
So I started the
Where,
show
I,
Soul Spectrum, and I
okay,
wanted that was my objective at the beginning of the lockdown. I wanted to be
right,
something that I had never been. So I
right,
thought through it, and I came up with Soul Spectrum, which is a show uh, uh, just doing music from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the 2000s.
wow,
And it's unmixed. It's just back to back, and I present it like a radio show. And
right,
we do Monday to Thursday. And so I have
wow,
done things that I've never ever done. I've played songs that I've never ever played. And like I said, in my early years, uh, I hated to play records like Brian Adams and stuff like that. And I nearly got
right,
thrown out of the job because I didn't want to play Brian Adams. And on this show, I played
right,
Adams. So that's been a completely different experience because I mean, 4 days a week, you can't come up with new concepts. How many house
correct,
classics can you come up with? How many old school
right,
hip hop sets can you come up with? How many retro sets can you come up with? How many house or whatever sets can you come up with? You can't. So
right,
this
right,
platform has given me the opportunity to do that. So it's been
right.
a completely different thing. And yeah, so at the point I'm trying to make is that nobody should even stop to think about what is happening outside. Just get lost in your music.
Just do what you do best, and
Get lost in your music. Use it as a form of escape. Spend a lot of time researching and understanding where you can play and how you can play. But keep playing and keep connecting to all the people around you because that is really, really important.
right, right. So we have a few rapid fire questions for you before we get into the questions from the audience.
There are so
Yeah.
many things.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of noted it down actually.
Oh, all right, okay.
So yeah. So quick answers. Yeah. So three things no one knows about DJ Ivan.
I used to go to church 5 times a week.
Okay.
Um, I don't look it, but yeah, I'm into fitness. So yeah, I play badminton twice a week and I gym 3 times a week. So
Wow. And
yeah,
the third thing?
recently I've become a vegetarian, a pure vegetarian since February. So
Oh wow. Wow. Best performance of your career so far.
oh, there are too many. I mean, not that I mean to say that I've had many, but yeah, there are too many to pinpoint one. But I think
Right.
the highlight would be playing with Danny Tenaglia for Ministry of Sound's 19th birthday party, being an Indian
Wow.
and playing with one of my idols in the Ministry of Sound. So yeah, that would be the highlight of my career, I think.
Wow. So one best and one worst thing about being a DJ.
Oh, the best thing is the people who love your music and appreciate your music and follow you. To have that is priceless, and
Correct.
that that's more than any I mean, we are lucky enough that we have great houses and cars, and all those are just incidental. The biggest
Right.
blessing we can have is the continued love and support of all the people everywhere. And
Very true.
sometimes I'm thinking to myself, do I really deserve this? And then I just thank God and I say I'm happy that they are there. I don't try to analyze it too much. But yeah, I think the love and the positivity of the people is the best thing. I think
Right.
the worst thing is recently, of course, is the travel to and from the airports. Bangalore will take you 3 hours to reach the airport.
Right.
Even,
Right.
even Calcutta will take you 2 hours to reach uh, Park Street. You know, so the travel has been taking a big toll. And you
Right.
in the airports. I mean, there's no more jet airways. So if it's Indigo, you need to be in the airport 2 hours in advance. There's no
Right.
preferential treatment and there's no privileges and this and that anymore. So you're spending a lot of time. So recently, I'm telling everybody, I am not charging you to play the music. I'm charging you to travel to the airport, to travel from the airport on the plane, whatever. I'm only charging you for that. To play the music is I don't mind. I don't mind paying you for me to get the chance to play music. I mean, that's we're just lucky to be in that position. That's why when you
Right.
see me, I'm always the guy who is fighting with club owners, with everybody that I don't want to stop, and it's
Right.
for me, it's an amazing thrill. And when somebody asks me, uh, how many hours will you charge us for, it's like I never charge anybody for the hour. I will charge you for the day, because if I don't play in your club today, I might be playing in some other club.
Somewhere else. Right.
Once I have committed to play for you, you ask me to play for 12 hours, 14 hours. In fact, I tell them the longer I play, the less you pay me. That's my philosophy, because I just enjoy playing so much. And every time
Right.
you're learning new things. I mean, it's when you're at home and you're playing music, you can never judge the reaction to a record. And sometimes you think, oh wow, I think this is amazing. And you go out and you
Correct.
play, and it's absolute rubbish. And sometimes you think, that this is
This
not.
track is not good enough, and then you go out and
It's so, there's nothing like playing to crowds. And it's you know, like she's always telling me, it's like, how the hell do you run around doing 100 gigs a year? You're not even young anymore. You've been doing this for 28 years. You've been traveling for 20 years out of the 28 years, 22 years out of the 28 years. So it's like, you need to slow down and take some time. And I'm like always packing my bag and running to the next gig. I just want to play music and I want to play music. And it's like, it's like a cricketer who's middling the ball. And
right.
once you're in form and you're hitting that ball well, then you just do it out of just like at the top of your head. And when you're playing, you're in that zone where you're thinking 4 songs ahead. You're not thinking about the next song. You're not stopping. So I think the main thing behind all this is that sort of hunger that you need to have. And
Right.
a lot of the guys who have really made it or who have been successful sometimes lose that hunger.
Correct. I think it's a phase in life one kind of goes through, sometimes because I've also had I face the same thing. Sometimes I've lost it and then I'm like, no, I can't do without it. I need to get back and, buckle up. So I think it's just a phase in life. So yeah. So your favorite Indian and international DJ? Anyone favorite in international and Indian DJ?
Indians, I actually don't get to hear too many, but
Right,
internationally, I follow the broadcasts and stuff like that, and it keeps changing time to time. So again,
right.
point one, I don't know. It's like asking me what's your favorite song right now. I will never be able to answer you that question.
Okay. So what is the craziest thing a fan has ever done for you? Do you remember anything?
Oh yeah, yeah. I used to have people standing outside my house with cakes and this and that for hours together. sometimes it becomes a bit scary, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot that's happened. I think with the internet and people having access to our private lives
Right.
more, they don't need to reach out to us as much as they did back in the day. But in those
Correct.
days, they only saw us on stage, and then they were like curious to know where we lived, what car we drove, what my children looked like, or whatever. So they would be in the most unlikely places, and it would scare you a little bit. So
Correct.
those days were different, but now it's not like that.
Okay. Any weird song suggestion you ever received during performance?
Anything that's Bollywood is weird to me because I've never heard anything. I think
But you have got Bollywood requests, right?
all the time, especially Bangalore now. It's become a huge Bollywood market. So
Right,
it,
right. At one point, there wasn't any.
yeah. So if I go to play in say like Sarjapur or Whitefield or all those areas where there are no like Bangalorean people and people from outside, they will look at me like, what is the fuck is the fuss over this guy coming to play us? Like, he's not playing any of our music. He's trying to play some music that we don't know. And what's the
Don't
fuss
know
about?
exactly.
Why is he being booked to play? Like, and I will, if I go to Hyderabad, there will be more people who will know me in the club than they will know me in Whitefield, which is like 20 minutes from my house. So, yeah, I mean, I get all the Bollywood requests all the time, and I don't know any of those songs, so they all are strange. And
Right.
it's not that I mean to demean it in any manner. It's just that like I said in the previous show, as well, I have never heard Bollywood music ever, so
Yeah, I mean, to each its own, I think.
I don't have a clue about it. So I would not be
Right,
doing just to playing something that I don't know about, because I'm a very
right,
methodical person who likes to study and understand the subject about what he plays, and I don't know
right.
nothing about it. So I'm not qualified to play it, and I shouldn't even try playing it.
Correct, correct. So, one thing you would like to change in the industry? Anything at all?
Yeah, I think the work ethic has to change, and we just have to stop complaining. And in the lockdown, we've seen a lot of complaining, but we have to stop complaining. We have to make do with the situation that we are in. Um, we have just come to know that we are the least essential people in this whole cycle
Right,
of COVID-19 and the pandemic and everything. So, we have to realize that and work harder and stop complaining about the situation we are in, because who knows, it might get worse, it might get better, but as it is, it's pretty bad. So, no
correct,
complaint.
correct.
Lot of positivity, lot of motivation, lot of energy to be shared, and moving on, getting better at our
Right.
craft, getting better at what we do, improving in what we do, because there's so many skills to learn. And with the exposure of us to all the international DJs from around the world every day, we just see where our shortcomings are, what more can we do to learn from them. And if we can incorporate that in our skills and we just get better, the whole scene gets better. When the scene gets better, more people are drawn towards us. The business gets better,
And
and
things only get better.
yeah.
Right, right. So, we have a couple of questions from the audience. So, I'll probably ask you those, yeah? So, Jeffrey asked your favorite hip hop and R&B old school DJ.
Uh, I haven't heard any recently, so I think my favorite hip hop DJ would be Kana, but old school I haven't heard much recently.
Right. Okay. Bobby SK asked, how do you feel as a senior DJ when there are 20 people watching you live, whereas you've had, I mean, 500,000, probably thousands of people watching you, in your shows. How do you feel about that experience? Again, getting back to numbers.
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference actually, because you are there to do what you're doing, and once
Right.
you're doing it and you're into it. So you're not worrying about the numbers at all. It's nice at the end of the broadcast to look back and say so many people watched and all that. But I think while playing, the priority should be just to play the best set you can possibly play. And
Right.
especially on a broad, I don't play much to crowds even when I'm playing live. I do sometimes, but not always. But on a broadcast, definitely you want to play for yourself. If the
Right. Right.
if the crowd is going along with it, they're going along with it. So
If not, then you just do your thing and
you just
be
keep doing
happy.
it because the people
Right.
around who are staying on the broadcast also are really nice. They're all
Right.
very polite. They're all very nice. They all understand your need to be appreciated and loved in a tough time like this. So
Right.
they're all nice to you. Everybody wants to be nice to you. So that's why again it goes back to creating that positive environment before you play. Make that a
Right.
priority.
Right.
Make that a
Right.
priority.
Right. DVD Shan has asked you three questions. Any particular event that gave you goosebumps while playing?
I don't know. I can't think of. Yeah, there's some days where
Okay.
everything, some days where
Okay. Second question from him is, where do you source your music from?
right now my new music I buy from Beatport, everything. Because I only
Okay.
use AIFF files, so I don't use MP3s. So I buy everything from Beatport. So I'm not a guy who's going and sourcing exclusive IDs and underground music. Here and there, yes, I will get some IDs from DJ friends who are releasing something beforehand or something. But
Hmm.
I'm a Beatport guy. I just buy music.
Right.
I think my strength lies in presentation a lot of the time. So I'm constantly working on having music that everybody else has, but presenting it better.
Better quality and everything else. Right. Third question from him is, who's the best Indian DJ according to you?
We've already discussed. I,
Okay.
I
Mateen
think
asked, who's, sorry?
I think in my early years when I was learning, Akbar was a huge influence. So
Right.
really
Okay.
exposed to him, and there were not many DJs, but he was a huge influence because by then he was already way ahead of anything that we were doing. And he
Right.
was musically so right. He was technically so sound. He was a performer, fantastic on the mic. He was the package. So yeah, at the
Correct.
early years, he was a huge inspiration.
Right.
But it's now is
Um,
many people.
okay. So Mateen asked you, who's your guru?
I started under this guy called Baj, who was an African guy. So
Right.
maybe
Right.
if that's the definition of guru, I learned most under him. And it's not that he taught me, but I was in the club and I
Watching him and
watched him
seeing what
and
he does.
I
Right.
practiced and stuff like that. So I think technically he would be my guru.
Okay. Okay. Skip has a question for you. Which is the first track or rather mixtape that changed the game for you?
The record that I bought was Incognito is always there. So beautiful, soulful record, and that sort of defined my journey. And that followed with CC Peniston's finally, Alison Limericks, Where Love Lives, and it's always been that soulful vibe that has carried me through. So sometimes I play now in festivals in my children's schools, and people ask me, it's like, you play to us and now you are playing to our children. Like, how are you staying relevant for so long? And I think when I look back, I think the one element that makes me play for so many played to have played for so many years is the element of soul.
Right.
And these records have that soul. And my music now will still incorporate those elements of soul. And even now, if I play Digging Deeper for 8 hours, It might sound a little bit underground here and there, but it'll have these elements of soul in it, which will people will connect to immediately. So I think it's always been that element of soul that will stick out in my music and make people relate to it, irrespective of what age or who I'm playing to.
Right, right. Okay. Kim has a question for you. And do you think the new DJs have personality development issues? Yeah. The most of the newbie DJs
I
lack a
don't
lot of
think
personality development issues
that kind of
because
trolls are.
he gets a lot of such trolls and comments on,
Oh,
so
yeah,
which is why he's
I get trolled all the time. I got trolled on one of my broadcasts recently where there was this, I think he was a young kid. He was either using Shazam or maybe if I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, he might have been knowledgeable. But I was playing a Danny Howard record and he was like, uh, I was not. I was not playing anything commercial, but yeah, I was playing a Danny Howard record, and he's like, "What the?" He started abusing first of all, and then the rest of the people were like, "Hey man, take the hate out of this room because we are all positive people here. Take the hate out." No, what is the big deal with this guy, and what is he trying to do? He's starting at some 3 o'clock in the morning, and he's playing this music. This is a Danny Howard record, and he gave the name of the song or whatever. So if you want to play your own music. And I'm like, boss, if I could play 7 hours of my own music, I'll be Pink Floyd. I'll not be DJ. I've been playing to 20 people. Like, cut the
correct,
crap.
correct.
It's like, what are you talking about? If I had 7 hours of my own music, I am playing somebody else's music. I just might work hard to play it better than some other people or less better than some other people, but the people who are listening to me like it and I'm playing it. If you don't like it, you go. So
Exactly.
I don't think it's only the young ones who are getting trolled. Everybody's getting trolled because people on the internet feel it's their right to judge. So
Exactly. I mean, I've also been facing the same situation where, I mean, if you are playing a particular genre and if you don't like it, I mean, if the audience doesn't like it, just change, and go somewhere where you like your music. Why are you stuck there continuously trolling and
Boiler Room does a nice sort of like a comment before it starts where it says we will not encourage trolling and negativity. And if you don't like the broadcast, please leave. And as soon as
right,
they start the broadcast, they put that sort of like a preamble over there to the people. So that's a nice thing to do. That's and but yeah, it's not only the young guys don't lack personality. If at all, I think the young guys nowadays are much. Yeah, they would be better looking. They're much better looking. They're more uh, internet, social media savvy. They look better on camera. They have fantastic skills. With the internet, they have great knowledge of music. Some of them are good producers. So I don't think they have less personalities and they are getting trolled more. Everybody's getting trolled.
correct, correct, correct. So the last question for you from Vicky is, do you prefer Serato or Tractor?
I use Serato to play video sets. I use Tractor to record my radio show. And because the lockdown happened and I didn't have equipment, I had to use it to play my sets in the early days. But now I've got managed to get Pioneer after the lockdown is over, so I use Pioneer. So
Right,
yeah, for different purposes, for different genres, it's different technology, and I'm constantly working on trying
right.
crazy different things. So there's no particular thing. I just dabble with all, and then one day it'll just be old school vinyl. And now with broadcasting, we've had to learn new things.
Right. Okay, DJ Ronit has a question as well. As of now, my question is, playing various types of genre can make people happy, but if we talk about playing gospel music, such as remixes and more, would it work out? As in, there are many gospel dance numbers.
Sorry, Ronit, I'm not aware of gospel uh, dance music. I have a few gospel house records, but it's not that many that I can put a set together. But yeah, so I'm not aware of that.
Probably you
Thank
can mix and match both together and,
Yeah, I mean the odd record,
create
yeah.
a create a set. Yeah. And Kirti has a question as well. Any funny story you would like to share with us?
Ah,
Any
yes,
memory that
I had one girl when I was in the younger days when I was starting up come up and tell me that I have a nice nose. and I, I've never forgotten that because I have the biggest and ugliest nose possible. So, uh,
All right. Thank you so much, Ivan, for being here with us. Thank you so much. I mean, it's
thank
been
you.
a pleasure. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Great talking to you, and great initiative by Lufa as well to have me.
Thank you.
I've been
Do
talking
you
with
do you want to say anything to the new generation of DJs and everyone else? How to cope up and what to do next and
yeah, that's
anything for us.
don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. You know, whichever way, and I have seen in my 28 years some really difficult circumstances in this business.
Right.
So, it's been very challenging at times, but don't
Hmm.
lose hope. I mean, we had a situation in Bangalore where dancing was not allowed. And for about two
Yes.
years, we played to people who were sitting down in pubs and listening to us. And you can imagine
Right.
how frustrating that was. But we worked through
I
that.
was there when that happened. So
We,
so
yeah,
yeah.
we worked through that. We worked through so many different situations. We worked through cops restrictions, early closing, late closing, so many challenges, uh,
Correct.
no crowds, too many people, whatever. But don't lose hope. You've got to keep going, and music is always a requirement for anybody. Now more
Correct.
than
Correct.
ever, in time, music is a requirement for anybody. So take your
Right.
music out and reach as many people as possible. Don't feel that your music is not important, and it's always going to be important to somebody or the other. So it doesn't matter how
Right.
many people are there. Play, practice, play, up your skills, learn new skills, and watch the internet because there is so much to learn. Every day I will watch 5 DJs broadcast minimum, and
Right.
I will learn how they're putting their sets together. What is the new music they're bringing in? What is it that they're showing us from within that we never knew earlier? And if you saw how Bob Sinclair did those 60 days of broadcasts. Man, it was
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, I always had a lot of respect for him. But when he brought out 60 days of variety to his personality, to his costumes, to his record collection, to his music, it was an immense inspiration. And
Right.
in our small way, we want to continue to do that for our audiences as well.
Right. Thank you, Ivan. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for being
Wish
with
you lots
us and sharing so much with us.
I know it's a hard time for you as well, but I wish you
Yeah.
lots of luck. Please work
Thank you
harder
so much.
and push
Yeah,
stronger.
definitely.
I think we'll all
Definitely.
better at the end of it all.
Sure. We're just looking forward to a better day today. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ivan. Thanks a lot. And thank you guys for being with us. See you guys next week. And we shall have another guest with us from the Godfather series. See you guys next week. This is Donna signing off.